I'm in Arizona at the world introduction of a very special vehicle. This is the first ever BMW XM, and there is no better person to talk to about this car than the CEO of the
Hi.
M brand. So Frank, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Frank van Meel, and like you said, I'm CEO of BMW M. There couldn't be a better job in the auto industry, I think, but we should more talk about the cars probably, and the XM also is a car there. There's a lot to talk about.
So this is kind of, well, obviously it's an SUV, right? Is it fair to say this is kind of your current flagship of the SUV brand?
Well, definitely it
Yeah.
is, because in our portfolio from M2 to X6M, we have everything there is, but there was this special position of a very extroverted, bold, expressive car away from the classical ones, really something special. And a lot of customers of other brands asked us to really do a car like this because maybe they were driving a G-Class or a Urus or a DBX, and they said, why are you not offering something so special and extroverted? And because we would like to come to your brand, but you don't offer something like that. And that is why we came up with the idea of doing exactly this car.
And how was the name born, the XM, right? X obviously is your SUV brand, and M your performance. Is it MX or XM? Obviously it's XM.
Well, I think the decision in that case was not too complicated, because we wanted to make an X, we wanted to make an SUV, because the SUV segment currently is the biggest segment and also the fastest growing one. Mm-hmm. And also on the other hand, of course, we wanted to make an M, so we said then the naming is quite simple, then it is an XM.
Yes. So there you go. So let's kind of walk around it briefly and talk about this very special new SUV. Like you said, the styling is pretty special. Just kind of bold, I would say, especially with the exhaust system and everything else.
Yes, the exhaust, by the way, they are real exhaust, because we know that in the industry there are some cars where it's just fake. This is the real exhaust, so these pipes are really connected. And for the first time it's now vertically arranged twin pipe system, because the twin pipes are typically M, but in this case we also there wanted to do it a little bit more extroverted and different from the rest, just to show this special character. And also on the top of the car, if we come from down there to up here, you can see the BMW logo that is etched into the rear window. And it's a double one, so it's on the left and on the right side. And for us that is also, let's say, a classic theme, because the M1, the only M-only vehicle before this one, mm-hmm. also had that. So for us it's also a tribute to the past.
Cool. Can we pop the hood? Because I want to talk about powertrain, right?
Yeah.
This is a V8 plug-in hybrid.
Yes.
So people may not really kind of be familiar with this combination, but it's quite special because you're combining one of your premier engines, and this is the latest version of it, right? With electric power.
That's right. This is the newest version, the newest 4.4 liter V8. We call it internally S68, so it's a brand new V8. And what you can also see is the electric drivetrain that is connected. You can obviously not see from above, because here you can see, let's say, the symbols for the 8 cylinders, but the orange cabling you see is the high voltage cabling, so that's a clear indication that there's also a high voltage system in this car. And as a matter of fact, the electric motor has got a power output of almost 200 horsepower. And also you can, in regards to EPA, you can drive up to 30 miles in pure electric mode with that, or in European cycle it's even up to 88 kilometers. So this car has really a double character. You have a lot of high performance, and at the same time you can also do daily commutes in purely electric mode. So that's also why the name that we had internally for this car is the Rockstar, because it's all about front stage and backstage. It's the front stage appearance, but also the backstage in the interior, with the lounge seating, the sculptured roofliner, with lighting. It's really a cozy first-class seating lounge, a backstage area, but also in regards to driving, it's got the front stage appearance, combined V8 with electric power, 653 horsepower, 800 Newton meters. And with the label red, it's going up to almost 750 horsepower and 1,000 Newton meters. So that's really a rock star, but at the same time, it can also be very silent.
Yeah, because you can drive it all electric, like you said. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's close this up and let's go inside. Can you join me in the passenger seat front first, and then we can go into the back seat. So obviously you can have multiple colors. You can have different customizations as well.
Yes, you can. And in this case, of course, it's the black-red combination, but we also do have vintage leather, which is unique because every car is unique with that leather because it's really natural leather, and it looks also like natural vintage leather. So that's also a different kind of material, and also you see the carbon matte finish, which is very, very luxurious as well. So it's a nice combination of sportiness and luxurious in this interior, and also of course the typical M controls on the curved display. And if you look at the steering wheel, you can also see the M1, M2 buttons that we always have in our M high performance vehicles. So you can program your personal settings for drivetrain, chassis, and all the other functions, and then you can, by pushing those buttons, you can activate them right away. So you don't need the menus to toggle through, you just program them once and your favorite combinations are on the steering wheel.
All right, well, let's power up so we can have a little bit of climate control and look at some of the configurations here.
Then we'll start with the top surface.
Yeah.
And of course there are a lot of ways to, for instance here, if you go to the setup, you can see all the things you can now set for the typical setup of your car on the M1 and M2 button. In this case, because it's a plug-in hybrid, you can also change the energy recovery level. So that means the deceleration can be chosen by you, if it's a strong recuperation level with a strong deceleration, or it's more like sailing along if you go from the gas pedal. And also, of course, the MX drive, the famous MX drive, is got 3 modes: the four-wheel drive classic, the sporty one with even more rear wheel balance, and also the sand one because it's an SUV. And also the braking pedal has 2 different feels that you can adjust to, as well as steering and chassis in 3 steps.
So right now, for example, we're powered up. We're in electric mode, so to speak, because the engine is quiet. The engine is not running, but of course we have the battery, and this is the battery indicator, correct?
That is
so here
right.
on the right.
So you see the range down here, the range that's still available, and here you can see the state of charge. And also we do have a button here which is called M Hybrid. Mm-hmm. And if you push that one, you can change the settings between hybrid mode, which is the one we are always in when you start the car, but you can also switch to pure electric or to e-control if you want to keep the state of charge. And then
the way it is, so the engine will replenish.
Then yes, right.
That's quite cool. So depends on your trip, right? If you want to save electricity or use it now,
right?
Use it immediately.
And it will also change the display on the left side, because if you're here, it's still the revs of the V8, and on the inside you will see when you drive in blue the electric power. But if you change to pure electric mode, it of course changes to electric only. So there's no revs of the V8 anymore. It's just the performance output of the electric drivetrain.
And because the electric motor is sandwiched right between the gasoline V8 and then there is transmission, right? So you still have, all of your gears available, and all-wheel drive, like you said, and also rear steering, right? So all those elements coming together.
Yes, and that's also, of course, not only for the drivetrain of importance, but also for the vehicle dynamics, because let's say the rear wheel steering helps you in regards to smoothness in vehicle dynamics, but also, of course, it brings down the turning circle, because this is quite a big car with a long wheelbase, because also in the interior it's quite big. But with the rear wheel steering, you of course can then bring down the turning circle to a certain amount.
Let's go in the back. Speaking of the back seat, we'll leave it running so we have air conditioning.
Then we have to start again because there's a safety measure.
Oh yeah, I opened the door.
Yes, you
Hold
opened
on.
the door. So I cheated a little bit now.
That's okay. That's okay. We want to be comfortable. Oh, you know what? I think I haven't sat in the back before. This is nice and soft.
Yeah, and it goes around, so it's
yeah.
really a wrap-around seat. You can also sit a little bit more cozy like this
Towards
in the
your
corners. It's really like a backstage
friend. Yeah.
lounge. And if you look at the roof, the sculptured roof with the colors, it's really a backstage area.
Yeah, I get it. I can see it now. Quite comfortable, nice and soft seats. Really quite nice. So I wanted to ask you. You know, everybody wants to know about electrification. So this is electrified, right? It's a plug-in hybrid, which for many is probably the best combination of both worlds, right? You have, V8 power, you have a little bit, a small electric range, but a lot of capability. You can go from here to Denver without many problems.
Yes, that's true.
And without charging, or maybe even charging to stop, stop at chargers. But what's like the future of M? Can you give me a kind of a glimpse in performance and also electrification?
Well, we to cut a long story short, at the end of the day, all cars will be electric at some stage, but it will take some time. And the most difficult cars to do electrification with are the high performance ones, like this one, because you want to have a sufficient range and performance. And that is currently also in racing quite difficult. But as you know, in racing, we started this year with the LMDH racing cars and the GTP class at IMSA, but also in the World Endurance Championship. They start this year with that, and it is a V8 hybrid that we use because there we can drive 24-hour races with an electrified drivetrain for the first time. So there you can see electrification also from racing coming into series production cars. So that's why this is actually the first M high performance vehicle with an electrified drivetrain, and it's a V8 hybrid because we also use the V8 hybrid on the race car. On a longer range, it will still take some time for high performance cars to go to pure electric, but we are already working on that. For the M performance vehicles, however, when you say in our base cars, we already do have electrified cars, but we would like to have just, let's say, a more sportier suspension, more power output, and also in regards to design, we want to have a very sporty M-typical car. There it's already possible. And we already launched the i4 M50 as a pure electric vehicle, and as a matter of fact, last year it was the best-selling M vehicle in our lineup. And it's already got two siblings with the iX M60 and also with the plug-in hybrid, the M760E. And this year we will add more M performance vehicles that are purely electric. So you can already see electrification growing in, but it's very important to have the typical M feeling. So what you want to have is that it is not something you would not like, but it should be typical M. And then it's also okay if it's electric, and sometimes it's even better because the punch of an electric engine is really great because it's got the highest torque at a standstill.
Right.
So that's also what you notice in this car. It's got 450 Newton meters when you are at standstill, and you just push the gas pedal and you have them at once.
Yeah.
So that is, there are also a lot of things to look forward to, but in high performance it's still a way to go. Also in racing, but we are working on that with a 4 electric motor principle, with a concept with 4 electric motors. So each wheel has its own motor. And with that, we think we can perform terrific vehicle dynamics, a typical M vehicle dynamics. And of course, as with every M, it has to be better than its own predecessor. So the cars you know right now have to be beaten by electrified ones once they come. So that's the challenge for ourselves.
It cannot be a compromise, right? You can't,
no, if it's a compromise, we're
backwards.
not going to do it. So we have to push forward. Also in electrification, but I think with our quad engine electric motor concept, it's more or less an MX drive with 4 electric motors. We can get there not only in acceleration, but also in precision and dynamics, but especially also in recuperation to get energy back. Because in racing, you don't want to throw away the energy you used to accelerate
Right.
by heat dissipation from brake discs. So we have a lot of ideas, and we're currently working on that. But you need the right vehicle architecture, the right electronic architecture, the right software, and you do have to do that yourself. And of course, the right drivetrain with motors and high voltage battery.
Yeah, because there are many challenges, right? Batteries, the current technology, they weigh a lot, right? So there's, there's a weight challenge, and also charging infrastructure challenge. There's many other challenges, right, ahead of us.
Yeah, it's a little bit a chicken and egg principle, because everyone says, since there are no charging stations, I'm not going to buy an electric car. And on the other hand, of course, then electric cars don't come because there's no charging infrastructure, and the people responsible, or the governments responsible for charging infrastructure, say I don't need to build so many because there are not so many cars. But what we see right now, it's already changing, especially also in Europe, but also in China, and also some regions in the US. They are popping up because also it's a good business for, let's say, molds or something for companies to put charging stations in front of their shops, because all the people driving electric cars will then go there to shop. So it's also, let's say, a thing going on, not only between governments or regulators and car companies. It's also, let's say, just business companies that see advantages in going towards electric and charging. So it's going to happen. The speeds are currently different all over the world. But it is going to happen because we need it for emission reasons, for, let's say, sustainability reasons, and also, of course, also at the end for cost reasons, because fuel is currently not getting cheaper. And probably in 10, 20 years it will not be cheaper. But
Right.
Electricity currently is en masse available. So it's going that way, but it's going to take some time to get there.
Yeah, and I think, still combustion engines will be with us in some form for quite some time. So it's not going to happen tomorrow, right? Next year.
No, it's not a switch that you pull and then you change from combustion engine to electric, because, I mean, until the end of this decade, we will sell a lot of combustion engine cars, at the same time plug-in hybrids and pure electric ones. And it depends on the country and the customers, what they want or what they need. And we want to provide the right car for the right people.
And I think this plug-in is actually a great place to be, at least right now, because you could charge it at home, right? Even like I live near Denver, I have a level 2 charger at my house. So this offers 7 kilowatt charging approximately, which what my house has. So in about 3.5 hours, I can fully charge this battery and this XM, and I can be on my way, and I don't have to go anywhere.
No, that's great. You're
no
independent.
stations. Yeah.
And if you have solar energy on the roof of your house, it's even easier.
Yeah.
You get it for free.
So it's kind of a nice place to be right now. And this XM is already available, right? It's starting sale right now.
Yes.
In the US. So, well, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
You were very generous with your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I thank you for this, and I'll just get out. And like we said, this car is available for sale. It starts at around $150,000, and you said Red Label is still coming, right?
That's
later
coming
this year.
From August this year on, it will be available, and that's got even more power.
Nice. So there's more things to look forward to.